So I do another talk, second talk on kind of my recollections of being active and in the game. This time it's kind of a bit more kind of my interaction with some kind of well-known personalities. Tariq, Ramadan, Zakir Naik and Moazzam. Now, well, let's start with I don't know, Zakir Naik, right? Now, when I was young, when I first got active, some very intelligent guy who was super smart, scholar, yeah, he said to me, who a scholar who actually deserves the title scholar, the rest of them don't. He goes, you want to know? I was brought up as a kind of Sufi guy, right? And scholars are a big thing in Sufism, right? Follow kind of that big Gandalf type figure, and they're the kind of, they know everything. There's direct connection to God. I never met anyone like that, but there you go, right? But he said he clocked that I was into that, that kind of scholar worship type thing, because that's how we were brought up and raised, yeah. And he said, "Do you want to know who to follow?" And I was like, "Yeah, who's the man? Who's the wizard that can get us destroy the ring, right? And, where's Gandalf? Show me the way. I'll worship him for the rest of my life, right?" And he was like, "Let me tell you, the way to know a good scholar is to look at his students. If the students are active, then you'll know that the scholars taught them something. And if the students are rubbish, if they're inactive, they don't produce any output for the benefit of this world, then the scholar's rubbish." And generally that's true. I mean, I know you may get the odd scholar who was just amazing and he just had bad calls, he just had rubbish students, but he would generally be constantly demanding more of them and they just would be letting him down, right? But that's not the majority. 99.999% don't give much and definitely don't ask for much. And so the people like Zakir Naik are a classic example of this. Now he has a massive following, this guy, massive following. So the guy who introduced me to him knew my belief, and my belief was that if these scholars just taught their devotees to be active in a practical way, there would be a massive challenge to Islamophobia. All they had to do was get organised and know the tactical game plan to defeat the Islamophobes, and they would have a massive change in society. Now, when I met Zakir Naik, that was the aim of the game. So I walked in, he was in someone's house, and someone was obviously, it was surrounded by kind of acolytes. It was a big thing because Zakir Naik was in their house. Anyway, I walked in and said my salams, and the guy looked at me like, "All right, what do you want?" And so I put to him the case, my case. I said, "Look, you're a scholar. There's tens of thousands of people following you. There's a great movement out there to harm the Muslims, and you can teach Muslims to be active and smart about how to defend themselves." And I didn't get into a tactical level because first I wanted him to understand and go, "Yeah, I believe in the principle, and now how do we go about it, right?" So I just got to that, finished my point, and I wanted to kind of sussing out if he'd kind of bought that, and he thought, "Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm a authoritative figure. People are going to follow my lead. Why shouldn't we defend Muslims? Why shouldn't these thousands of monkeys that follow me, do something practical to defend themselves and their communities, and just get organised in the game, right? After all, they're living in minority status all around in non-Muslim countries, and that's primarily where they're at risk." So I said that to him, and to my utter amazement, his reply was basically that I needed to perfect myself, and the fact that I didn't have a beard at the time was like a big deal, and he basically was like, start growing a beard first. It was such a Salafi thing to say, because I've only ever heard that from really hardcore, nutty, narrow-minded, couldn't get their heads out there where the sun doesn't shine Salafis, right? At that time. I don't know, as I said, maybe Salafis have changed, or some of them at least have changed these days. But that was such a backward Salafi thing to say, and obviously it's the Big Ijma thing or Deobandi, and they're even more backward than you would ever imagine. And I know I've got personal stories I'll tell you about those guys in another YouTube video. But anyway, I lost my cool and, couldn't help myself. It practically exploded. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, he went straight on the attack then and said, well, give me your evidences from the Quran. Like he does, he says, verse, chapter, blah, 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 blah. Chapter. He, instead of, I am supposed to give him a Quranic verse to say that you need to protect Muslims and you need to teach Muslims to protect themselves. Me, the fact that you don't know it, you're Zakir Naik, and you can quote chapter and verse, and I need to now give you. Anyway, I didn't even get time for that. And because that tension just went bang, the spark was there. He said it, I went, what? And he went bang, and I was like, just ready to go for him. Everyone in the room realised, whoa, this is going to kick off. And about, I don't know what, loads of people just grabbed me and I was out the door. That was the end of our interaction, right? I never met the guy. I saw the guy again because I was given a platform by Islam Channel to do a talk at their Global Unity events, which they were one of the few people who actually gave me the opportunity to reach people. And the rest of the groups were like hating my guts and wouldn't let me speak. And in that talk, he was sitting at the front when I told them that, look, trouble is coming, danger is coming. If you don't wake up now, you will be attacked in the streets, which is happening right now. This is going back maybe 15 years. And I looked at him when I did that talk to say, man, you don't know what's coming for you. Anyway, I was the quack. Those days, I was the nutty guy. Yeah, I was the guy. Just the world is ending. The guy who stands in kind of central London with a plaque that says at the end of the world is 9. Everyone goes, what a nut. Yeah, the Muslim groups basically thought that's what I was, or painted me in that way. Right now, they're all those. Everything I said was true. Everything they said, proved false. Right, but look who had the last laugh. Yeah. And it's a very heartbreaking thing to say, but you made your bed, you lie in it. Look what happened to Zakir Naik, expelled from India. Where is these people? Where are all these people, the millions of people that supported him? Were they able to protect his rights? Were they able to defend him? Could they do anything? Did they do anything? He wasn't willing to activate those people to stop Islamophobia in the West or in India via his students, and now his students left him hang to dry. They might say, yeah, he's a great guy, I like watching his video. That's entertainment, guys. That's not actual practical, organised anything. And that's what they did. Oh, that's really sad. Oh, Zakir Naik, oh, poor guy. Oh, it's really outrageous. Well, so what? What's that change? He's still expelled, isn't he? He's still not allowed in his own country, the country of his birth, living in Malaysia. Hounded, hunted, and with no support. All right, well, run, flee. I don't blame him for that, but it just shows he made a pacified set of people that followed him, and when he was in trouble, what a surprise! Those pacified people could achieve nothing to protect him. On a mass scale, remember he's got hundreds of thousands of followers. Anyway, moving on to what's that guy's? Sorry, Tariq Ramadan. Tariq Ramadan is another interesting character, and I found him far more intelligent than Zakir Naik, in that he was instantly intelligent when I spoke to him. And there's very few people that you can speak to and you realise they're intelligent very quickly. Yeah. When I spoke to him, I was immediately struck at how clever this guy was. Sharp as a razor. Yeah. Intellectually deep. Now, what troubled me about this guy was, and again, very big following, a massive following, well known around the world. What troubled me with this guy was that he was such a, I don't know how to explain this, right? It's already 9 minutes, apologise, right? I had to explain this, he was, imagine a guy who just didn't have a dog in the fight. If you're a Muslim and Muslims are getting attacked, for example, in around the West or wherever, then you feel it. you have some, you're part of the problem, if you catch my drift. Well, Tariq Ramadan wasn't. He was always an academic, yeah, that didn't really care. He could analyse, but he wasn't going to be part of the solution. You with me? A fence sitter, a perfect fence sitter, a guy who would go, yeah, good theory, mate, yeah, excellent, nice to talk about, but he was never going to put himself in a position where he was actually going to challenge that. Now, I had a number of meetings with this guy because I would appear on some sort of television channels, and he was often the interviewer in those channels. It's Muslim channels, yeah? And so we would have conversations afterwards, and he was always very light-hearted and condescending about it, like, oh yeah, great, yeah, we've got to make changes, we've got to stand up for Islamophobia, yeah, whatever, mate. Very, very aloof, couldn't be bothered, not interested, yeah, in being part of a solution. His whole theory was, look, I'm just an academic, that's it, live with it, right? And that always upset me and troubled me, and he came across very condescending in many ways. And nothing I could do. You can't force a guy to wake up. He could have had such an impact, thousands and thousands of people following him. He could have really made a big difference. And then look what happened to him. Locked up by the French state. The guy was emaciated when he came out. Where was all these followers that he had? The thousands and thousands and thousands of people that followed him. Dead, useless, didn't do nothing for the guy. Why would they? Because he never taught them to be active, so they were inactive. They were exactly what he made them. Academics, or people, philosophers, people who like to debate or think about interesting things that he put on the table, and he liked to do that. Well, great, great entertainment. Where's he helped you? Washed up, destroyed guy. No one stood up for him. Well, at least the people that profess to love his books, buy his books, attend his talks. Where were they all? Get it? If you teach people to be useless, they are useless. You teach people to be active, organised, efficient. They are active, organised, efficient. Remember that story I told you about the old Palestinian man who kind of made me active, yeah, got me active. He said to me, you want to follow someone, look at his students. If they're good, that's a man to follow. If they're rubbish, then forget that guy. Look at the Prophet's students. Umar, Abu Bakr, Ali, Osman. These guys were amazing. Khalid bin Walid. There's something, that just shows your team reflects who you are, because you won't tolerate that team otherwise. And again, it's hard to say, but I was proven right. They and they were proven wrong, lost. Lastly, Mozambique. I'd say the very interesting thing about Mozambique, I remember the first time, it's already too long, I should end it now, but just because I said Mozambique, I'll finish it. I remember the first time I met that guy. Now, I'd gone to a talk at Cage. Now, Cage, at that point, I don't really know too much internal stuff about Cage, but there were Salafis, and a couple of HT boys, I think, were in there as well. And they didn't really, I'm sure, and I found out later, that they pretty much didn't like me very much. And they had they were quite patronising and condescending about me, which is quite hurtful when I found out later on. But at that point, I didn't know that. Yeah, I just knew they're probably Salafis. They probably don't like me, but they're doing some good work out there. And I was never a guy who really attacked groups who did work. They don't have to do exactly the same as we had done, but they had to do something, and these guys were clearly doing something. So good luck to them and carry on. We only attacked groups that didn't do nothing. Yeah. Mosque didn't do nothing. All of these guys, scholars, didn't do nothing. So they're fair game. You can attack them. But a group that does something, all right, they're doing something. Good on them. That's something more than anyone else is doing, right? So we never laid into Cage. We kind of had a kind of understanding that we leave these guys alone. So what happened was, I went to one of their talks only because Moazzam was there. And I had a lot of love for Moazzam, although he didn't really know me. Or I know he didn't know me, didn't know I existed. I think he got out of, being locked up, and he was out, and everyone was making big fuss because he was back in the UK. And I was obviously one of these kind of doe-eyed guys who were like, wow, who is this flipping angel just came from heaven, right? And so I went to watch him in a talk. And anyway, when I went into these cage things, obviously everyone, like, I was well known by that time, so a lot of these kind of cage guys and the people in the audience who were giving me proper dirties. I don't know if they were. To be fair, I can't know if they were the cage guys. I saw them shiftily kind of looking at me from the corner of the eyes, right, the corner of their eyes, like, oh, the troublemaker's here. And yeah, to be fair, I was a troublemaker. That was my whole game plan. Everything about Impact was to be like Isa alayhi salam when he goes into the temple and overturns tables, yeah, for the money lenders, you know, cleanse the place, smash up all the decay and the rot that Muslims, you know, love. We were there to smash things up and say, no, everything's wrong. No, everything's not right. Everything's wrong. Watch, we're going to overturn the tables. We're not going to let you relax. So obviously everyone was nervous around us and or angry or hated us or whatever, right? So, you know, that was our game. Good. When we walked into the room, we wanted them to hate us. If they were happy with us, then clearly we weren't doing something wrong because they were rubbish. Yeah, we walked in the room, but Salafis being Salafis probably hated everyone anyway, so I don't know, it was particularly directed to us. So anyway, they're giving us a bit of shifty, dirty looks. Anyway, I sat down at the back. I didn't say much. I knew I was in alien territory, so I just sat at the back and listened to him. Anyway, at the end, everyone, you know, went up and said hello, and I waited patiently for my turn, and I waited for Moazzam to finish and leave. And as he was leaving, I kind of jumped up, kind of really kind of like full of beans, like, wow, I'm going to shake the guy's hand now, right? You know, it's like shaking Malcolm X's hand or Muhammad Ali's hand. You know, so this guy's amazing in my mind. And I remember shaking his hand and going, oh, you know, just gushing over him like, you know, like a girl, right? And he kind of looked really confused for like a few seconds, and then he said, after I finished, like saying like how amazing I thought he was, right? He said, wow, you're nothing like you are on the internet. I'll never forget that. Basically, obviously, I come across like really aggressive and all that on the internet, right? Because obviously that's our game. You know, we were there to attack inactive organisations, and this guy, you know, obviously was like totally shocked. Like, why is this guy like saying so many nice things about me? I'll never forget that. Anyway, I had a very kind of pleasure of meeting you a number of times after that. You know, I'll tell you one thing. You know, I was in the kind of Islamic game for 20 years. And in those 20 years, I can't really say I met a lot of good people. I know it sounds weird, huh? Because you're meeting the people who are in Muslim groups. But as individuals, a lot of egos, arrogance, jealousies, character flaws really spoil what should have been a beautiful game, right? You'd be surprised how nasty people are who are in religious movements. A lot of them are very petty, real petty. You know, they're not the high-minded, great people you read about in books. You know, I'm talking about in England. I don't know about other countries, but they're very petty, small-minded, jealous, aggressive, nasty people. A lot of them, yeah. Actually, I do a talk on some of my experiences as how nasty some of these people were. But anyway, but the thing about Moazzam is that struck me. He wasn't that. He was the softest, heartiest guy you would ever meet, and I connected with him instantly. Instantly, I met him, and every time I met him, I just fell in love with him more. He's not a guy anyone who's got a soft heart will love him because he's got a soft heart. And one of the few guys I'd say that, you know, that really struck me as that's what I wish I was. Everyone else, I'm a guy who has a very low opinion, as you know, of Muslims. It doesn't matter how high or big the scholar is. I've got no time for you just saying he's great just because he knows some surahs off by heart or he does a great talk. I don't care. It's your heart that matters. And when I met these guys, their hearts were clouded or found wanting. His heart wasn't. There was something about that guy, and I'd say anyone who meets him, that is angelic. So soft. You know, Allah says it's about, it really, really touched me, you know, almost to tears when Allah says this about Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he says, he was if I remember, he was a soft-hearted guy. his heart was soft. He was kind. That's what Moazzam Beg comes to me. You know, that kind of off Ibrahim alayhi salam's block. You know, that chip off there. Anyway, there's my three people that I'll talk about, and I'll talk about many interesting stories that I had, interesting to me anyway, along my way. I think the next one I'll do is some of the nasty people I met. Anyway, all right, assalamu alaikum.